Welcome everybody to the Keys to Wisdom channel. As you see here, I'm going to start out with a little phrase. I've got it formulated this way for right now, and I'm going to try to do a short video just talking a little bit about where I'm coming from and what I've been showing lately. So in here it says September 3rd, 2024, then September 4th, 2024. I could formulate it the September 23rd, 2024, then September 4th, 2024. I could express it as the time, right? The word then and the time, right? Which is what I'm talking about here, an upcoming time. September 3rd, 2024, September 4th, 2024. And what I've been showing lately in the videos is how this is the day of my birthday when I turned 44, and it is the last day that I will be 44 from my birthday. Right? I've been showing this, the first and last day of 44. And then the next day, September 4th, 2024, I'll be 45 years old. So when I'm putting this phrase out here, I'm looking at it because we're coming up on this time, and this is where I'm at. Right? I'm 44. I'm about to be 45. That one day is right here. Right? And now there's another moral about the day, 24 hours, because I could interpret this over here. I could say 9-4 and 9-5. Right, because my first day from birth, I was born on September 4th, 1979. I think it was 3-something p.m. I don't know exactly, but I think it was 3 or 4 p.m. when I was born. So my first day here, 24 hours, begins then and ends on September 5th at 3 or 4 p.m. Right? My mom was actually in labor with me on Labor Day that year in 1979 before having me after Labor Day. And then my birthday's always messed around with Labor Day and Labor Day weekend deal. Or this can be looked at as 45 in a code, 99, right? So I'm putting this information in here in words, right? You know in words what time period, the time period that this is talking about, right? Very clearly sitting there, September 23rd, September 3rd and September 4th, 2024. And within here, within the numbers, there's a representation of it. And now when I tell you when I was born, you can kind of get a grasp of the representation in here of 44, 45 in the 1, applying to the day, applying to the first day, right, in here, or again a 45 code, right? See, really that's another thing in here. I could look at this and say this is representing 45 from conception or 45 from birth, right? I've already been 45 years old from conception since December 4th, 2023, right? And I'll turn 46 from conception September 4th, 2024, 3 months after my birthday of September 4th. So at this point here, the reason to double 45 with that code could be that now I'm 45 years old from conception. Well, I'm already 45 years old from conception, but I turn 45 years from birth to the point, right? All of us, if we had a conception period of 9 months, we only have a 3-month period per year where our age from conception matches our age from birth. So that's when my age would be both 45 years from conception and 45 years from birth. So I have all this information in here. I have date information in here, this information in here, and then I also have something going on in terms of the year 2025, which by the time, if we get into that period, right, I'll never be 45 from conception in 2025, because I'm going to turn 46 from conception December 4th, 2024, but I will be the majority of that year. I will be 45 years old from birth in the year 2025, if I want to choose to try to interpret that as 25. But also, again, it's another thing where 20 plus 25 is 45, so I could interpret this as 45 in here for the same theme, right? But 2025 does have a 45 theme relating to me. And then down in here I can look and see like an anagram of the 1836, the final key in Daniel's name, if I wanted to interpret it that way, right? And of course these digits also jump out into the sacred geometry on the 9. So if the sun and the moon have different measures linked to these 4 digits, even if there's zeros being added on. I don't have my list to pull out and talk about it, right? But this is some of why and what I'm looking at. And then, right, also there's other people that I've been using their names and everything and talking about it, that I'm looking at different time windows depending on the ages of different people in a lot of these keys and the things that I'm doing. And what I recently did was do a little switch up from looking at things, the information in terms of interpreting it as saying making choices and dividing things, right, to I am not a divider things, right? And if you're provided with a bunch of choices, right, you ever take multiple choice tests, right? A lot of them will say all of the above, none of the above. You'll have those type of things in there, right? So then naturally I'm looking at things in terms of, right, just like doing a multiple choice test, right? Looking at in terms of a choice out of the choices they're given. And then what I done recently here was looking at it in terms of a choice of all of the above, right? If you were going to select in a multiple choice thing, right, where they ask you some question, all of the ones that options they put out apply, and they give you an all of the above thing, which has always kind of been like an oxymoron, because how can you be wrong if it's all of the above, but well, I guess because you should have them all checked, right? But in any case, that's what I've been looking at recently, right? You got a bunch of... Anyways, I got to cut myself off, but when you get a bunch of choices, right, and a natural way to also look at it is all of the above, none of the above, those type of things, right? And when I was looking at it in terms of different choices, right, it was always about the morality of those choices and also what those choices would manifest in the world, right, with, and then the same thing as applying to all of the above, the morality and what would be a manifestation of that, right? So now I'm going to do a little add-on here, and I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to talk about why I'm exploring these sets of numbers, right, that I'm exploring, which I would never got familiar with all of the sacred geometry type stuff on the nines, and I never got familiar with everything to do with 45 until Cecily's birthday on 6/4, 18 days ago. 18 days ago, and now that I'm looking at it even more and more, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So let me do a quick add on what it says. 144, then 45. Right, we're going to just this here and everything I was talking about in terms of what's going on here. 144, then 45. This in here, I was already seeing it was being used as a 7 was being used for a sept and a 9. I've already seen these things playing. The sept 479 will be put out this way with the sept 478, which is a whole Cecily deal. And right, and again here now, Earth, Sun, measures 1836, the Daniel type things in there. Some of the age things that could be interpreted as 45 and 63, right? My mother and my father and myself at 45 all line up. Again, in here is a 9, 4, 23, 9, 3, 24 deal. My age at 45 all lines up with Daniel and Jennifer, right? And you'll see all kind of different things relating into Daniel throughout all of the different stuff that I've been looking into, that all revolves on it, right? And again, I could go here to one time, right? One time. 44 and 45 themselves both operate on the nines, which is one thing I hadn't noticed before, right? And down in here, I could have that 45-45 interpretation. Cecily and I will be riding that 45-45 together, right? I could all interpret it as to myself, like I explained on that day when I'll reach 45 from birth and from conception, right? And there's 36 and 36 that'll be linked right up with our 45-45s or mine, right? There's all different perspectives to look at stuff, and what I always try to do is look at as many things in as many ways as I can about everything that I'm looking into, right? And here's another expression of like 12 and 24, a third and 2/3 expression, which is one thing that's within that 18 and 36, right? It's right in harmony of 60 per measure and 120 per measure, right? Jesus and Thomas, that's a 1/3 and 2/3 ratio, but when Jesus is doing in Thomas using 60 per measure and 120 per measure, that's about 180 and the other 180, right? So if I arrange the 18081, right? If that's how I arrange it, 18081, then I could express within that the same measure that is within there. The 180 is also about halves, so it's about a third and 2/3, but also about a half and a half, right? In the Jesus Thomas stuff. And it bore good fruit. It produced 60 per measure and 120 per measure, right? The A produces 4 and the B 60 per measure, and the B produces 8 120 per measure, and they're halves, first and last, one and the same, 180, right? That's Jesus' word type teaching, and that's all within the stuff too, in terms of a third and 2/3, right? And the half and half principle, though, is always in there as well, and that's what's going on. If you can look into same half and half principle, like I can go 180, 81, 180 left, 180 right, right? Half and half. This could be a circle, right? And also, same thing, this could represent 40, 12, 24, could 12 right, 24 left. Is half and half, third, 2/3 thing. 45, 45, 36, 36 is also things like that. Or I could apply them to my parents at my 45 age, 63 and 63, mom, dad, which is again 180, 180. Half principles, everything, A and B type deals. So those numbers are meant to have specific applications, right? The 44 stays on the 9s all by itself. And here's our 18, 36, another the same type of third, 2/3 expression, flat out, non-even transposed, 20, 25, 9, 4, 23, right? My first day of 44, my last day of 44, again, possible things in here, right? All these different things. And because the people that I happen to have the most awareness of are myself, Cecily, I've got awareness of my parents, then I've got awareness of Daniel and Jennifer. So that's how I'm applying all this stuff. If I didn't have awareness of Daniel or Jennifer, I wouldn't be able to apply any of this stuff. Maybe I could be applying things to myself and Cecily and my parents, right? And this is a half a great year representation. This is right in here again is half the circles, right? So the 180 is right in here. It's also in here, right, in Daniel's name, the 18 to 36, just like the A and the B. It's a third and 2/3 teaching, 60 per measure, 20 per measure, half, along with third and 2/3. A real deal is getting the half and half, right? So the half expression is right in here. That time, again, it'll apply to the 45 is in here, right? Only from birth, which will be changing on the 24th, all that's in there, all this is in here, different things that it has me thinking about, because I see these representations in there, and I know that when I show this to people, they don't always have the grasp to be seeing or hearing the same thing that I'm looking at when I'm showing it and doing it, right? Again, in here, here's our half deal, right? I can interpret this out here to be 1978 and 5739, or 5738 and 1979. I've done a bunch of stuff on that. Again, and here's that principle of a third and 2/3. Daniel's deal, the half. This could also be 2915 plus 1, the other half, right? You have to straighten out the equation, right? So that could be saying here, right? All right, one's got the half a circle down. One needs a little bit of work, and then it will be down, and then there's the full circle. There's the half and half. There's the third and 2/3. It's all about the word A and the B. A and the B. So when I put this out there here, this time where I'm turning 44, going from 44 to 45. Right, every which way I do it, it all stays on the 9s, and it all produces very significant symbolic stuff. 144, then 45 time, right? This is really saying right from birth, right? But you have to be able to recognize it, right? And this is again the half deal, right, in it. First day of 44, last day of 44, right? And then is always this, right? Then is a word that it denotes the time, right? So it's not strange that time and then are linked up, because within your language, the word then is used as a time clarifier. The same way I'm looking at in terms of this stuff is different windows depending on when the people that I have knowledge of are going to be changing, right? This also in here is an 1835 plus 1 for 1836. So again, you got that half circle saying, well, this one's got it down. This one needs just a little bit of work, but it's close. It'll be there, right? And there's your half and your full circle type deal. This is also a full circle from the very first day of 44 to the very last day of 44. It's that whole circle. And then this here with this is a representation of that time then, right? It's all jumping back to 45, right? From Sept 479 to, well, here Sept 423 is jumping to 44, but then the day after Sept 324, then it jumps to 25, then, 45, then 44, then 45. And the words that I use to follow up the stuff that I did is from what I read right here. And that's how I read this. This is just a real small thing, but it will be able to help people, especially Daniel, Jennifer, if they're watching. I don't have that many watchers, but I'm using their awareness and their ages and different things from them within the stuff that I do. And again, like 44 and 45 is all on the nines. The name Daniel is on the nines. The name Jennifer is on the nines. So it's built to fit into all of this stuff and keep producing the different combinations of these numbers, which at this time, our time right now, is it's that time, right? And even there's expressions coming up of the 44 and the 35, which could be any right now, right? We're seeing windows within this stuff come up when you use all of the people involved on the thing. You're seeing windows that are coming up that are right now are present. And this 44, 45 type of thing is like a window, a very small window, a particular day in the future, right? And then there are 45 and 36 things that when looked at like that is into the future, right? When I look at the 45 and the 63, it can be a present thing for my dad, and it's a future in a small window with my mother and myself, right? 45 and 63. So all of this stuff, I'm looking at it real closely because, right, as soon as I looked into the 45 and the 44 stuff on Cecily's birthday, it hit real big, but it's been hitting ever since, and it's right now type of stuff. So I'm looking at it, considering things, reading into it, but also I'm sharing it as I go, right? And being naked and unafraid about it, right? Come out and clearly show that I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm considering the different thoughts that are brought about what I'm reading in terms of the division of things, right? Myself and my mommy, Daniel, Jennifer, or Cecily, myself and something or somebody else, right? Different ways that I was using yesterday to put it together in terms of I am not a divider, right? The very same stuff can present choices of division and of the opposite, right? Division and subtraction, or the opposite of addition and multiplication. Right, so then now as I've looked into this, one of the strongest themes that there is about this stuff is all this key right here. It just flies out everywhere, but it'll do it in massive combinations that relate into all of the people that I'm talking about. Cecily, myself, Daniel. It'll get very, very direct, showing her exact birthday expressed as 6479. Her exact birthday expressed as A15579. I mean, her 45th birthday is expressed in this stuff like crazy as well. 15624 deal, right? The whole everything on it is crazy how it all rides together. So when I started reading and seeing it, that's what I'm doing here. And then also when I put it out like I do, naked and unafraid, people are going to think whatever they think about it. I can't control that. But when I put it out like I do, I also get some responses back. Like Daniel sends me some stuff and other people say some stuff in there. I keep the thing open to, I can't always generate as many perspectives as I would like to be able to look at some things, right? I try to look at things from a lot of different perspectives, but then all of a sudden somebody else starts looking at the same thing that I'm looking at, and they say something to me, and they wind up providing a perspective that I can look at that I never otherwise would have been able to come up with on my own. So that's one of the benefits of sticking everything out here like I'm doing. Right? I appreciate all the feedback, and I get stuff off of all of the feedback that I get from everybody. You know, I get something out of everybody. Some people in particular, I get huge amounts out of. They just are able to throw out perspectives that I can't generate myself. But this is a little explanation into what I'm doing and taking you for a short little walk and talking about the keys and the information into this stuff. And I'm linking it to myself. Everybody here that knows me knows this is all my timing stuff, right? Because I've been open and I'm telling people for years when I was born, what my birthday is, what Cecily's is, all of that stuff, right? So everybody that's been around watching me can understand that these words are very solidly describing a time where all of these numbers are applicable to me at that time, right? A lot of the stuff that I've been showing, right, and using, like the alphabet, gamma, tau, A, B, C, Z, Aleph, beta, gimel, omega, B, C, B, A, C, Z type stuff. Well, that's all right stuff. It's showing you the moral of that is first and last, the first and last, right? The A and the B are the first and the last and the one and the same, but when it comes to the consonants and post-fall, right, A and B are from before the foundation, the first and the last, one and the same, 1/3, 2/3, half and half. That's the moral. But then from the foundation, found that ion, the first is the C, and then it is the Z, right? The first and last. Well, and that omega is the last, tau is the last, and I use Aleph and Bet in those scripts, and I use Gimel and Gamma because Gimel and Gamma sit in the same spot as C. Right, and they don't have a 26th spot to represent where Z is, but their final slot, the 24th omega, the 22nd tau, that's where I come up. Everything about that is all about first and the last, first and the last, first and the last. It's really specific stuff, but it's not as specific as this. This is very specific. Anybody that understands the Gregorian calendar understands exactly where these words are taking you. Right, and when you then know my birth date and everything else, and you can follow along much better in terms of what I'm talking about with all of these other keys. It's very, very specific stuff, right? It's not vague. The first and last stuff that I put together, it's more vague, even though it is very morally significant first and last type of teachings. But anyways, I don't want to go that far. I already had a short video before I got cut off before this, and this one's 20 minutes. So with that said, please like the video, share the video, and subscribe to the channel if you think that's something you should do. And have a nice day.